I've got a pretty special guitar to show you today. This is a 1979 Fender Stratocaster. It's got an ash body, a one-piece maple neck and fretboard, and 21 frets. It's got the 1970s Fender 3-bolt neck joint, and it's a hardtail, making it very similar to the guitars used by Kenny Wayne Shepherd and Jakey Lee of Ozzy Osbourne. Though he had his modified to look like a Charvel, it was one of these under the paint. Speaking of paint, this is where this guitar starts to get a little bit more interesting. It's in a fairly rare colour for what this is. It's a transparent burgundy. You can see the nitro checking on the back, and through the buckle where you can see the natural wood. For its age, the frets are in surprisingly good condition, and the electronics have been changed out, surprisingly for EMGs. But this wasn't a modern change. We can see these pickups in this guitar from a picture taken in 1991. Who's playing that guitar? Oh, it's Jimmy Page. So why do I have this guitar? Well, a few weeks back a guy called Laurence Carpenter sent me an email and asked if I'd like to take a look at some of his collection. Laurence is a high-end music memorabilia and guitar collector, and you can find his YouTube channel linked below. He's got some very cool pieces in his collection, and this guitar was one of them, and he was kind enough to let me do a video about it. So let's hear the story about this guitar from Laurence.
So in 1991, Jimmy Page moved to Nevada, and the reason that he moved to Nevada was to record an album with David Coverdale. So there's a band called The Public Eye, and their guitarist Robbie played in a club, and David Coverdale used to go to that club, and David mentioned to Robbie, the guitarist from Public Eye, that Jimmy Page was in town, and that's when Robbie got the idea to make sure he had some of his best guitars in the venue on the off chance that Jimmy Page would drop in to that venue to listen to some music. And he'd then take that opportunity, if Jimmy Page did come to that bar, and invite Jimmy Page onto the stage and offer him a selection of different guitars. And lo and behold, that is what actually happened. Jimmy Page did go to the bar, and Robbie had these guitars, a selection of Strats and different guitars. He went over, took the courage to go over to Jimmy, because Robbie said that it took him a lot of courage to go over to Jimmy, because he was a big fan of Jimmy Page, as you can imagine anybody would have some fear about going over to their idol and ask them to come up on stage and play a set with them. So he went over to Jimmy Page, asked him would he come up on the stage, and Jimmy said yeah, but under one condition, that he doesn't have to play Stairway to Heaven.
No stairway. Denied.
So Robbie said, yeah, of course, that's fine. And Jimmy went up on stage, picked the guitar, and he actually used two different Strats. One was a sunburst and one was a kind of burgundy colour. And the rest is history, really. He went up on stage and played Led Zeppelin songs, Rolling Stone songs. Page played with Robbie on at least definitely two occasions, and I think possibly a third occasion. There's only photographic evidence of two gigs that he did with Robbie, and he's making some funny faces in some of the photographs, as you do when you're playing rock and roll. There was also an instance where this guitarist Robbie from Public Eye was playing a gig in some, I don't know, an old folks home or something like that, and it was killing him at the thought that Jimmy Page might have gone to this other bar called Legends. So while he's playing in this, while Robbie's playing in the old folks home, and he's thinking about Jimmy Page being in the other bar, Jimmy Page at that moment in time was looking for Robbie, and he managed to find out that Robbie was playing a gig in this like old folks home. And then Jimmy Page went to the gig and found Robbie and went on stage and continued playing with him at that gig. So it's a pretty awesome story. How I got the guitar, the way I usually go about finding music memorabilia is it's like I'll hear a song from an artist and that'll inspire me to go find something from that artist. I was inspired to look for Jimmy Page guitars, and coincidentally a guitar store in Washington in the States happened to put on sale that very day this Jimmy Page used guitar. So I found a guitar, called the guys up. I made an offer for the guitar. They called me back within 24 hours. They accepted my offer and I bought the guitar. When it comes to the value of the guitar, like I'm a dealer and I'm also a collector. So I obviously, when I have my dealer hat on, I'm trying to get it at the best price possible. And the reason for that is just to protect my own interest, you know, because the lower I get the item, the less risk it is for me. Like, I don't want to lowball somebody, but if I can get it at a low price, I'm obviously like anybody. I paid around $25,000 for that guitar, which is a hell of a lot of money. When it comes to evaluation, like, it depends what day of the week you sell it on. My expert valuation on that guitar, when I sell it at the best possible time, for selling the guitar would be around probably anything from $50,000 to $150,000.
I'm glad you didn't tell me that before I played it because I would have been afraid to touch it.
Yeah. Because Jimmy Page is so protective over his guitars. It's unbelievable. Like, well, it's not unbelievable, it's believable, but like for someone to get to use a Jimmy Page guitar, like none of Jimmy Page still owns pretty much all the guitars he ever had, and any ones that he parted with, like either he lost or they were stolen, you know, so he keeps them close to his heart. So there's not many people get to use a Jimmy Page used guitar. The expertise would come in, and this isn't blowing me on horn, it's just a fact. Like, my expertise would kick in that this guitar wasn't owned by Jimmy Page. It was just loaned to him for a few weeks. But I know the value of that. Like, I bought the last guitar Prince ever used on stage. Very similar kind of circumstance to how I acquired this guitar. I just kind of must have been listening to Prince at that moment in time, and I got inspired to look for a Prince owned and used guitar. And Prince literally only used it for like 3 minutes. But I know as an expert in music memorabilia that it's not about quantity, it's about quality, and the quality lies in the headline, Prince's last ever stage used guitar. All the money is built into that. I bought Prince's guitar, say, for like $20,000, right? The guitar was only worth itself probably $2,000. So I paid an extra $18,000 for the story. That's what I paid for. And then I consigned it to an auction and it sold for $150,000. So some other rich guy paid an additional like $148,000 for the story. So all the money is in the intangible bit.
I've played a few 70s Strats, and I have to say, out of all of them, this was the nicest playing. Also, maybe a slightly controversial opinion, but I really liked the EMGs. Quite surprising. I was expecting like low output pickups and then it shows up with EMGs, but it sounded really good. But hey, this is a really interesting guitar and I'm glad I got to play it. A big thank you to Laurence for letting me do this video and play this guitar, and make sure to go subscribe to his channel if you want to see more about some artist-owned guitars. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That's all from me. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.